troubled hearts. It's a psalm that gives us encouragement, gives us pressing on power when we are ourselves in the midst of trouble. And how many know this morning that we're living in some troubled times? We're living in some troubled times. We're living in times where it seems like wrong is right. We're living in times where it seems like sickness is on the rise. We're living in some times where my daddy used to say, the older you get, the more it hurts. We're living in some times where yesterday is gone and tomorrow is on the way. My sisters and brothers, it's funny about trouble, because in the middle of trouble, you don't have to be doing anything. You don't have to be doing anything. You can be minding your own business, and trouble will find you. Trouble will drive down your street, back in your driveway. Trouble will come in your house unannounced, and you don't have to be doing anything to find trouble. But trouble will find you, because that's the way the devil works. That's the way that he's set up to work. All it takes for trouble is just one phone call in the middle at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you know there's some trouble there, because phones don't typically ring at 2 in the morning. Can I get a witness? All it takes is one going to the doctor, and the doctor shaking his head and saying that it's not looking good. All it takes for trouble is that child calling you from a place that he cannot get out of. Trouble will find, but in the midst of trouble, we find the psalmist saying that God heals. In the midst of sickness, we find that the psalmist saying that God heals. He's our strength. He's our refuge. And the text before us, it presents us with some issues that we need to understand. These issues is saying that when trouble shows up at our doorsteps, the first thing that we need to realize, number one, is that God is shelter. Somebody shout, God is shelter. He's shelter. He's refuge. He's shelter. He's our safety zone. He's shelter from danger. The old church say he's a shelter in the time of a storm. And I don't know about you, but there's so many times in my lifetime, trouble has visited me on a regular basis. What do you do when trouble shows up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and have the nerve enough to follow you to church on Sunday morning? You got to understand that God is a refuge. God is a refuge. He's a place to go. He's a safe place that we can go. And then the second thing we got to understand, that in this refuge thing, we got to understand that God is a protector. Somebody shout protector. He's a protector. He's a protector in the times of, he's our rock in a weary land. He's our refuge, and he doesn't have to shelter us. He does not have to pamper us, but he does it because he loves us. My sisters and my brothers, not only does the text reveal that God is a shelter in the time of help, but the text also reveals, it says God is our strength. He's our strength. He's everything that we need. And it's important for us to understand that this word "and" in the middle of there, he says our refuge and strength. And is a conjunction, and it joins both of those words together. And when you put those words together, refuge and strength, is like greens and cornbread. You don't need one without the other. It's like peas and carrots. You need one with the, somebody here know what I'm talking about. He's our refuge and strength. They just go together. My sisters and brothers, He says he's our refuge and he's our strength. Therefore, we're able to stand in hard times. And so I'm getting ready to get out of here, but I want you to understand that God is a safe place. And what he does is he injects us with what we need to stand in the times of trouble, because he's our refuge and strength in the time. And look here, I gotta get this, because somebody who's in here this morning, you're in the midst of a troubling situation, and it don't seem like there's no way out, because you're trying to deal with it in your own strength. But can I tell you, son of Mount Moriah this morning, don't deal with it in your own strength. You got to give it to God, because if you give it to God and let him deal with it, if you give it to him and let him fight your battle. So God is our refuge. Says he's our strength. And we got to learn how to lean on him in everything. We got to lean on him for everything. We got to lean on him. And in the midst of trouble, that's all you need is Jesus. Somebody shout, all I need is Jesus. That's all. I can make it if I got him. I can make it to tomorrow if I got him. I don't care hellhounds on my back. I can make it. Trouble in my home, I can make it. Sickness in my body, I can make it, because God is our strength. Not only does the text reveal that he's shelter and he's strength, but the text also showed me this morning that he's the steadfastness in the time of trouble. And the psalmist says that, in other words, that God is dependable. Shout, he's dependable. He's dependable. You ever had somebody tell you, I'll be over there in a minute, and they show up 4 hours later? No. God is dependable. But Mama was saying he may not come when you want him to come. But he'll show up on time. And when he shows up, he brings time with him. That's how I know he's on time. He says he's our presence, our help in the time of trouble. In other words, what I'm trying to get you to understand this morning is that we serve a right now God. We serve a right now. What are you saying, Chambers? I'm saying that the Lord is immediately available to help us. In other words, he's accessible when you pray. How many know the psalmist say that he inclines? In other words, he leans over to see what I want. In other words, King Jesus is listening all night long. Oh, he's listening. My sisters and my brother, because God is. Because he's a safe place. Because he's our strength in the time of trouble. I just want to encourage you this morning to keep on leaning on him. I want to encourage you this morning to keep on trusting in him. I want to encourage you this morning to keep on depending on him. Because if I never had a problem, then I would never know that God is able to solve it. Yeah, Lord, if I never had a sickness, then I would never know that God is a doctor in a sick room. Have I witnessed him? If I never had to go to court, then I would never know that God is a lawyer in a courtroom. And since I've been through all of these things, and each time the Lord has shown up for me, I can honestly say that I know God is refuge. I know God is my strength. I know God is help in the time of trouble. Yeah, and the reason why I know it, because he ain't never left me. He ain't never left me. He's always there to see my need. He's always there to provide my wants. to see my need. And the reason why I know he's always been there, because long ago, before I even knew who I was, Christ died for me. He always been there. He shed his blood on an old rugged cross. He shed his blood so that I may have a right to the tree of life. He died, but he didn't stay there. It was early Sunday morning. He got up out of the grave with all power in his hand. And one of these old days, he's coming back again. I don't know when, but one day. One day, he's coming back for me. He's coming back for me. Oh, I'll be ready. Gonna be ready. Gonna be ready.